So you want to see your abs for the first time? Here's what you need to know. I'm going to tell you right now that often the first time you attempt to get lean, the process is often more difficult than you'd expect. There are going to be mistakes, frustrations. The process is going to take a lot longer than you'd like because your body will fight against you. Our body, just like our mind, doesn't like change and it's going to resist it. Sounds fabulous, right? But honestly, as much as we'd like to try not to focus on the negative, I think it's key we face the obstacles and struggles going in so we're prepared for them. Too often we try and ignore that there will be challenges, and that's ultimately what sets us up for failure. So I wanted to share 5 things to be aware of in the process of trying to get your leanest body ever so that you're prepared to stick with the process. But before I dive into these tips, I just want to remind you of the importance of macros for body recomposition. Macros matter most when we're really trying to lose that last little bit and do everything we can to preserve our lean muscle mass while losing fat. You need to focus on increasing your protein, but you also can't fear carbs the more active you are. Your body will need that instant fuel. And by cycling macros every couple of weeks, you can also give yourself a wider diversity of foods, maintain a better hormonal balance, and even mentally feel more in control and motivated to keep moving forward because you have little mini end dates and points at which you know you can get a little shift. Now, here are 5 things you need to know about getting abs for the first time. Number 1, you need to realize that you might feel like you look worse before you look better. Often the areas we want to change are the last to go. And in the process of losing off of other areas, the areas we want to change that haven't will look bigger and worse. Not to mention, fat loss and body recomp are a slow process. Especially towards the end when we're getting closer to our goal, it can feel like nothing is changing even though results are building. This is why it's key we use more than the scale. Use pictures from a ton of different angles and not just the areas you want to lose from, so you can see fat coming off of other places. Use measurements to track those changes. And also focus on tracking those habits consistently so that you can trust in the process. But realize that changes are going to happen at a snail's pace. And you'll often even look softer during points in the process. You're going to have those times that the scale doesn't change, it doesn't change, it doesn't change, and then bam, overnight you drop a few pounds. It wasn't just the eating right around it that did it. You probably have been losing fat slowly over time. However, you didn't lose until you dropped the water weight being stored in your fat cells. And this might have been why you actually looked softer for a while. One common time you can look softer is if you've been slightly lower carb. Yup. So often we fear carbs, but you can sometimes need to add them in to lose the water weight. This phenomenon is known as the woosh effect. And while the science on this effect is limited, it's something we've seen happen time and time again. The hypothesis as to why this happens goes back to our body not liking to lose weight. We each have fat cells, and the size of these fat cells changes as we gain weight, increasing in size, or as we lose weight, shrinking in size. Fat cells are filled with triglycerides, which will be used as energy for the rest of your body. Working out, being in a calorie deficit, all make your body need to call on these fat stores for fuel. You'd think this would mean steady decreases as you draw from these stores during your diet. But instead, water is often stored in these fat cells as your body tries to maintain your current weight and avoid depletion of its energy stores. They store water to anticipate more fat filling them soon. So because of this water storage, your weight plateaus even though you're technically losing fat. And this is why we can feel like we look softer and squishier during the fat loss process. We see this most often happen around our middle or our thighs. It's why we can hit those dreaded dead zones where we feel like we look even worse. Then bam, we get the whoosh effect, and you wake up the next day and your body has let go of the water. And often the cause of this water release comes from kicking our body out of the deficit temporarily. So it no longer feels like it's starving and in need of holding on to the water weight to keep those fat stores ready to be filled. It's why we might see that immediate drop on the scale after a cheat meal or even a carb refeed, where our energy stores are refilled, even if we've kept ourselves in an overall deficit for the week. But it's why sticking with the process, even though we're not going to see immediate results, is so key. Number 2, know your whys and set a motivational deadline. The closer you get to your goal, the more cravings will probably have increased and your mind will work against you. You'll want to eat. You've been in a long, consistent deficit, and there's probably foods that you haven't been able to work in as easily that you're really craving. And as much as you might think you want abs, just seeking to get abs won't keep you motivated for long. You'll find your motivation fades quickly when your friends sometimes ask you to go out for happy hour after a long and stressful week. But precision is key. And especially if you're pushing yourself to a level of leanness you've never been able to achieve before, you're going to have to be ready to sacrifice. That's why it's key you not only have one why, but whys and a motivational deadline to keep you moving forward. I'd honestly wanted to achieve a six-pack years before I actually did. What finally got me to commit was setting a photo shoot, announcing it to all of my clients, and wanting to be able to create a nutritional program to help clients no matter their goals. But I felt I couldn't talk about getting lean if I didn't personally know the struggles. So having that hard photo shoot deadline, public pressure, and accountability, and even a big investment of money in the process helped me stay consistent when I 100% wanted to quit. Thankfully, I've now learned a ton about the process to make it easier for myself and my clients. And over the years, I've learned how to maintain a leaner physique and create that new set point. But that accountability and motivation beyond just wanting abs is what made the difference. So give yourself no way to wiggle out of your goal if you want to succeed. Number 3, plan ahead with everything. You can't be guesstimating. You can't not track a bite of food. You can't be skipping random workouts or randomly stringing together routines based on how you're feeling that day. You need to have everything planned out. A clear plan of action gives us added accountability and motivation to stay the course. It also allows us to make more accurate adjustments based on how we are truly progressing. It lets us see what truly works and what doesn't. Planning ahead also removes a lot of the stress involved in being so precise. It's hard in the moment when you're hungry or tired or stressed from a long day to figure out what workout to do or what to eat. Because often you don't want to do what you really need to do in those situations. It's why planning ahead, having meal prep frozen, and having fast restaurant go-to options is so key. It takes the thought and guesswork out of it. It even takes the stress, emotions, and cravings out of it. The food is there. You know what you have to eat. Even already logging it in your food tracker adds accountability and makes things easier so you aren't just having to track as you go. And by having your workouts pre-planned, you're making sure you're progressing. You're not just doing what you feel like, as your energy at times may dip as you adjust and tweak ratios and calories. It's easy when we're tired to slack. But everything in your programming needs to work as a cohesive system. Your macros should be based on your training and vice versa. So both need to be planned together. By tracking your performance, you can make sure that it doesn't decline because you have that clear progression and you can track your numbers against previous weeks. Data is key to helping you achieve results as efficiently as possible. Number 4, find ways to move more. By being in that extended deficit to lose that last little bit of stubborn fat, your body is going to find ways to conserve energy. That means you're naturally going to fidget less and want to move less. You want to be conscious of this and do little things to keep your NEAT or non-exercise activity thermogenesis higher. You want to burn more calories during your normal day. This does not mean making your gym sessions longer. It doesn't mean even doing 2-a-days. It just means being conscious of moving more. Too often we try and train longer and harder to out-exercise our diet, but this can lead to metabolic adaptations and actually sabotage our results. Plus, the quality of these training sessions often decreases, and we end up doing a lot of wasted volume we can't recover from. This ends up diminishing our returns. Plus, when we train harder as we try and cut our calories lower, the deficit we're in actually grows, and our body fights the weight loss process for survival purposes. This trying to do more in our training could actually lead to more metabolic adaptations and muscle loss instead of aiding in our weight loss process. And often we don't think about adding in more lifting. We turn instead to more HIIT sessions in our training. But just recognize these intense sessions can deplete our glycogen stores and sometimes even make us hungrier. Plus, they can make the fatigue really build up. This is why walking can be such a great thing to add in. It doesn't detract from our energy for future training sessions. And it's low intensity, so we can do more of it without causing further cravings. Walking can assist in better fat loss when we include it after a training session where we target those stubborn areas. This can help improve blood flow and utilize those mobilized fatty acids. So be conscious of when you start to feel like doing less to not fall into the couch, but still include some fun activities over the week to move more. Number 5, progress will feel slow. Your body will fight against you. I know I mentioned this already, but I think it's so key we oversell the negative to ourselves so we're prepared for the challenges that might come up. This can better help us stick with things when we want to quit and give up. We're making ourselves ready for the challenges we're going to face so we're more prepared for them. Plus, there is a light at the end of the tunnel for the same reason that the process is slow. The longer you've been above the weight or leanness level you want to be at, the harder it will be to reach that new set point. Your body doesn't like change. It wants to maintain balance, and balance to it is where you've currently been at, especially if you've been at that weight for a while. Your body will want to do what it can to stay there. The positive part about this is that once you get lean and start to transition into maintenance, it becomes easier and easier over time to maintain a leaner physique. But that initial getting there is often not easy. Progress will be slow, but this is actually a good thing. When we try and see dramatic results, we often aren't losing more fat. We're simply losing water weight and glycogen that has been stored. Plus, the faster we attempt to lose weight, the more we're losing muscle mass and not controlling for fat being lost. Muscle is metabolically more costly to maintain. So when our body is in a deficit and looking to conserve energy, it will use muscle as fuel. That not only provides the energy it thinks it needs, but it also helps conserve energy overall. So embrace the slow process. The easiest way to do this is by focusing on those habit changes as goals in and of themselves. Put your focus on what you know will lead to results. Celebrate the consistency in those habits as wins. This will help you stay focused on the actions that build towards those results. Be aware of these 5 things when you're seeking to get abs for the first time. The process will be slower than you'd like, and your mind and body will fight against you as you seek to achieve something you've never done before. But just remember that maintaining the results you achieve gets easier. Just focus on those daily habits and don't freak out when results are slow. If you liked the video, make sure to like it, comment below if you have any questions, and subscribe. We're posting new videos each week.